Oh shit! Dude.
Yeah. So you owe 100,000 now, right?
I'll do it.
All right.
Thank you, Logan. Let's go.
Yes. I'll do it. Send the, what is it? A wire? How do I PayPal? What is it?
I'll reach out to you after. You can
He takes ETH too. He takes ETH.
Also, you guys sledged this money a long time ago, and everyone else already gave it. Actually, some of your boys haven't donated yet. So,
Who?
I got the list. We got to do a little bit of a shakedown.
Okay, let's do it. Let's call it out live.
You really want to know who hasn't donated yet?
Yeah, come on.
When one of the world's biggest streamers says he felt like a scammer after participating in charity work, something has gone terribly wrong. For years, MrBeast has been celebrated as the internet's most generous creator. But behind the charitable facade lies a darker truth about how those millions of dollars were actually raised. This is the story of how Jimmy Donaldson used psychological manipulation, public humiliation, and financial coercion to bully some of the internet's biggest names into donating millions of dollars, and how the streaming industry has stayed silent about it. What you're about to see reveals the dark side of MrBeast's empire, a systematic campaign of pressure tactics that turned charity into a weapon and left psychological scars on the very people who helped him break world records. This is how he bullied streamers into donating millions. August 14th, 2024. MrBeast announces a charity live stream with a clear goal: raise $5 million for Team Water, then end the broadcast. Clear, specific goals create what psychologists call psychological contracts, unspoken agreements that form the foundation of trust between participants. Felix, XQC, Lengyel, and Aiden Ross agreed to co-host, believing they were signing up for a straightforward charity event. They didn't know they were about to become participants in a case study of financial coercion. To understand what happened, we need to understand the psychology at play. When charity becomes public performance, it activates different neural pathways than private giving, triggering self-preservation centers rather than genuine empathy. Hour 14. The $5 million goal was within reach. That's when a donor known as Hayes made a substantial contribution with a specific expectation. Hayes wasn't just donating to charity. He was purchasing what he believed was the conclusion of the event. This type of transactional thinking reveals how money can be weaponized to control social situations. When MrBeast moved the goalposts from 5 million to 12 million, he violated that psychological contract. This type of promise violation creates lasting trust damage that's difficult to repair. XQC's confusion was immediate. The initial response to ethical violation is often confusion rather than anger. The brain struggles to process when someone they trust suddenly changes the fundamental rules of engagement. But the Hayes situation was just the beginning. MrBeast then employed what psychologists call vulnerability ambush, catching someone in an unguarded state to maximize compliance pressure. Shame researcher Brené Brown has identified this exact scenario. Ambushing someone during mundane activities bypasses their normal defensive mechanisms. When MrBeast mentioned Logan Paul's donation while pressuring Asmongold, he was deploying social proof manipulation, using others' behavior to create false urgency and obligation. Asmongold's language reveals the psychological impact. "You're really going to do this?" His brain immediately recognized this as an attack, not a request. Notice his final surrender: "Give me a number." When people feel cornered in public financial situations, they often capitulate just to escape the immediate social pressure. This wasn't isolated incidents. MrBeast's team was systematically calling influencers with prepared scripts designed to maximize psychological pressure. Each call included specific psychological triggers: celebrity name-dropping, peer comparison, and public performance pressure. By challenging XQC and Kai Cenat about who's richer, MrBeast was making charity competitive rather than collaborative. When giving becomes publicly performative rather than privately motivated, it activates different neural pathways, more related to self-preservation than altruism. This systematic approach created what psychologists call distributed social pressure, the weight of millions of strangers judging private financial decisions. Refusal to donate became public refusal to help people in need, even when the real issue was financial capacity or violation of personal boundaries. But the most insidious aspect of MrBeast's campaign wasn't what we saw on stream. It was what happened to creators who couldn't or wouldn't participate, and how their silence was weaponized against them. For every Asmongold who expressed frustration, there were dozens of smaller creators who received similar calls but felt they couldn't speak out. The psychology of this silence is crucial to understand. When charity becomes the weapon, resistance becomes impossible to defend publicly. Content creator Camila Araujo made headlines with her massive donation, but the aftermath revealed something darker. When critics attacked her contribution as dirty money from adult content work, MrBeast's response was telling. He stayed silent, allowing the moral outrage to build pressure on other creators. This created a psychological trap. Creators who might have questioned the pressure tactics now faced a choice: participate and be celebrated, or resist and potentially be associated with those who opposed helping people in need. The Sophie Rain controversy exemplified this perfectly. When the OnlyFans millionaire donated $1 million, the backlash wasn't just about her. It was a message to every other creator watching. Your money is only as good as your public image, and MrBeast will let the internet decide your worth. This weaponization of public morality creates what psychologists call compliance through proxy shame. You don't just fear disappointing MrBeast. You fear being lumped in with anyone the internet deems unworthy of having an opinion about charity. The creators who stayed silent weren't just avoiding conflict. They were protecting themselves from a machine designed to make opposition to MrBeast psychologically impossible. When you turn charity into a moral purity test, questioning the methods becomes questioning the cause itself. 3 weeks later, XQC spoke publicly about his experience. His delayed reaction follows what trauma psychologists call delayed moral injury processing. It often takes weeks for people to fully comprehend when they've been complicit in something that violates their values. XQC's brain was trying to reconcile his self-image as a good person with his participation in what he recognized as manipulation. His word choice reveals the psychological journey. I felt like a scammer. People often use criminal terminology when they've been complicit in ethical violations. XQC's brain was processing his participation as theft of Hayes' reasonable expectations. Meanwhile, MrBeast's response was calculated silence. This follows what communication researchers call strategic non-acknowledgement, banking on short attention spans rather than risking amplification of criticism. When organizations refuse to acknowledge obvious problems, it causes victims to question their own perceptions of reality. Despite the psychological harm to participants, MrBeast's strategy worked. His subscriber count continued growing, sending a troubling message. Psychological manipulation in charity work is rewarded when it generates large donation totals. The controversy sparked broader discussions about philanthro-tainment, the transformation of charity into entertainment content that prioritizes performance over genuine altruism. Perhaps most troubling is that recent charity content shows continued reliance on public pressure and emotional manipulation, suggesting the lessons from Team Water were ignored rather than integrated. Today, XQC speaks more openly about boundaries in content creation. His experience with moral injury led to growth, but at significant personal cost. MrBeast continues to be celebrated as a philanthropy pioneer. The $12 million raised provided clean water to countless people. But good outcomes don't retroactively justify harmful methods. When charity becomes coercive, it stops being charity and becomes exploitation, wearing the mask of altruism. The dark side of MrBeast's empire isn't just what happened during one stream. It's the systematic deployment of psychological pressure tactics that corrupt the very concept of charitable giving.